and connecting, and then when they did connect, there wasn't magic that happened. And Kevin, I was like so, frustrated. I'm like, I don't understand. How can you have so many amazing people and magic doesn't happen? So I'm like, that's kind of weird. And then introduced some more legacy partners to Ed Kirch. And they went out to, breakfast together. And, the next week I said, hey, what'd you guys accomplish? And there was really nothing. And I'm like, that's so strange. How can you have such, amazing people connecting and they're not accomplishing something? So I asked, Ed and Jill and some of the others, and I said, so what's you guys' plan? And they said, we're going to go out to lunch. And I'm like, well, if you didn't accomplish something at breakfast, what makes you think you're going to do something at lunch? Like, I don't understand. And this happened 3-4 times, and then I said, there's got to be a system for this. So I worked with a number of other people in the network and legacy partners, and they put together a system. The system's like 2-3 pages long, so it's very short, very simple. It's got instructions, read it, and then follow through and go through and do step 1, step 2, step 3. Very simple. So Kevin, now people, these top-level people, they now have instructions on how to go ahead and, develop profitable partnerships. And Kevin, what do you think happened?
They jumped on it and it happened. No, you know what? They probably did nothing.
They what?
They probably did nothing.
Not even read it?
No, I don't know. I don't. I know that sounds weird. I'm going to say they didn't even read it.
So Kevin, like when you have spectacular, amazing people, like you're just like, these are amazing people. Like Ken Bucci, he's probably the smartest and humblest too. I mean, he won't say it, but I think he is smartest CPA on the whole East Coast. It's crazy. I mean, he goes to events, like CPA events, and the top speaker at the event, he goes up to the top presenter and says, hey, I have some questions on this and this. And the top, like one of the top speakers on the East Coast, doesn't know the answer to Ken's questions. I mean, so Kevin, help me understand, how can you have brilliant, successful, smart, disciplined, amazing people, and they won't read something that takes 2-3 pages? I mean, what's up with that?
Maybe they don't think it's going to change their life. Maybe they don't think it's going to change their business. What do you think?
I don't know. So, Kevin's from the Chicago area, same as I. Hey, go Cubs, right, Kevin?
Amen.
And they have closers, right? I mean, they have somebody that'll pitch, 7 innings, and then they go ahead and bring in the closer. Why do they bring in the closer, Kevin?
Because they're fresh, they're ready to go. They haven't been pitching, for 5 or 6 innings.
I think we found our closer.
Who's your closer?
Danny, and he'll be jumping on in just a moment. Well, I'm going to let him jump on right now. Danny, have you joined us, buddy?
Yes.
And Rosanna's with Danny, too. So, Rosanna, did you want to kind of share what you and Danny are working on?
Well, Danny had to encourage people to read what?
The Legacy Partner White Paper.
And he called all the people that you talked about just a few minutes ago, and he called them each individually and asked them if they were going to read it. And what did they say?
Yes.
Why would they say yes, do you think?
Yes.
Because they could not turn down somebody that told them that they should read it if they were 5 years old. So Daniel, he was actually 4 when he called everybody because he had a birthday this week, called everybody and said, please read
Legacy Partner White Paper.
And what did they say?
Go to Rabbit.
I will read it. And then we called them back, and some of them didn't manage up and out, so he had to call them back and remind them again. And then what happened?
I don't know.
Well, I think what he did is he talked to a couple of them, and they actually managed up and out and then really did connect. And so they made a legacy partnership in the matter of a week from them talking to Daniel.
So, Kevin, there might be some business owners on that might go ahead and say, excuse me, is this a kindergarten? Is this a grade school, like preschool? Like, they might think, are you really joking? Like, is this serious business stuff?
Right.
Any ideas and input that you would give to people, Kevin?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Does Danny own his own business?
He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, that's
Yeah.
even more amazing to me. Hey, Danny, love your brother. Hey, I think any business person jumping on right now and saying a 5-year-old owns their own business, listen, that's how good the structure is. If Danny can do it and he's awesome at it and he's an awesome closer, why not you?
See, this is what's Kevin. This is what's strange, and I don't know if Ken was serious or not. But in the couple years, 2-3 years I've known Ken, they've had challenges in getting their business customers to turn in their paperwork. So, for their taxes and stuff, turn them in on time. And so then they've got to go ahead and call them. That's not good for the customer. It wastes their time. It's not good for, Bucci. And so it's not a good situation. And I don't know. I need to check with Ken. But he said, I think he was serious. He said, Mark, maybe we can get Danny to call our business customers and get them to go ahead. Maybe they'll be more responsive to Danny than they are to us. He says,
absolutely they would.
I was more responsive to Danny than I was you, Mark. And so any ideas, Kevin, what Danny's going to do?
He's going to call him. And you know what? Danny calling them, they're going to be chuckling to themselves. They're like, I don't believe I just got a call from Danny, who's 5 and owns his own business. You know what? Get the numbers together. Send it over to Bucci. It's funny to me because, listen, if you don't get your numbers in on time and they don't file on time, you get massive penalties from the IRS. And they play no favorites. They play for keeps. I mean, there's only 2 things that are sureties in life. One is taxes. You will pay at one point or another, and death. So, listen.
See, actually, he's not going to do that, Kevin.
He's not. Why not?
Well, he's a little bit more advanced than that.
Okay. What's Danny going to do?
Well, he's partnering up with the MVPnetwork.org.
Yeah.
And he's working with them to go ahead and figure out how he can clone himself.
Sweet.
So then what he'll do is he'll go ahead and figure out what he's doing, and then he'll put it into a system, and then he'll go ahead and create, a video that will go ahead and have the same effect. Because he's got, 2 twin sisters that are due any day now. And so he's the oldest. He's a 5-year-old. He's got a 3-year-old brother, and he's got twin sisters. He's got a lot going on in his life. He doesn't really have time to call all of Ken's clients, and then everybody else is going to want him to do it. So what he's doing is he's using technology to be able to clone himself.
So, Mark, let me ask you a question. If a 5-year-old who owns his own business, who has twin sisters on the way, and has to play Big Brother, because that's a big deal.
It is.
That's
it really
big
is.
Role.
Right, for sure. Oh, one of the other things he did is from the money he earned from doing this, he decided to take some part of that money and treat his family out to pizza. So he went ahead and covered for his whole family financially to provide a meal for his family.
That's awesome. And then it's a write-off for his business, too.
Yeah, right, because he's talking business, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. Rock on, Danny. That's sweet. So I'm wondering, Mark, is this only applicable for 5-year-olds who own their own business, who can treat their family based on the income they're earning out to pizza, or is this for adults, maybe junior hires, or grade schoolers? I mean, can anybody do this, or is it just 5-year-olds?
Well, it's interesting, Kevin, because when people make a contribution to Life Masteries Institute, and so on the mastermind seminars, like there's no cost to this. This thing's worth hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, whatever somebody takes from it. They can do a pay it forward. And so there's kids at risk. So in addition to earning money, Danny is also raising money to help single moms, kids at risk, rescuing girls out of being trafficked, and a whole bunch of other amazing causes. And so it is true for everyone, Kevin, but business people, community-based leaders have to learn to think in a very different way, and that's the magic. How do we learn to think in a different way than we are now? I think that's the hard part.
Right. So how do we think in a different way, Mark?
Well, Danny's also a co-author of a book with Alan Stein and then Zaire and Abigail.
Right. Is that how to be the best student
in the world and everything?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot that we can learn from young children. And Tibbs is doing some amazing things in education and blending education and business together. And so I think if business people were to learn to think bigger, think more global, and how they can impact their community and how they can partner with other people, the networking opportunities that they could have. I mean, like maybe we'll get into it in the last segment, Kevin, but Mastermind Seminars is going worldwide now. So in August, there's an event in Louisiana. There's an event looking at November in Boston, in January in Hawaii, in March in Reno, in June in Israel, I believe. And then next is going to be China, and then next is going to be Africa. And so people that are listening to this, you can participate in the live event for sure, the virtual event, this event, but what if you were to bring one of these to your own local community? What if you had 20 or 30 or 100 or 500 people that participated in this? What would that do for your business? That would be pretty amazing.